All right, guys, today we got a painful one in the shop. We've got to come back and we want to go over what happened, so maybe we can save it from happening to you. So let's get into it. So we have this 2021 BMW M550 in the shop. It was here last week, I think. And no, it was here this week, early this week. And we did some maintenance on it. And one of the things we did was change the front diff fluid. And unfortunately, we installed the wrong fluid in it. So what happened was it was a combination of errors. The wrong fluid was put on the ticket. And we do have a procedure here where the tech will always double check the fluid that's on the ticket to be sure that it is appropriate for the vehicle. We just feel like that's just a safe kind of backstop to make sure that this doesn't happen. Unfortunately, the wrong fluid was put on the ticket. Then the tech couldn't find in all data the correct fluid, so he just went with it. Unfortunately, it was the wrong fluid and it's burned up this diff. And the real thing for us is we've got all data. We've got Motologic, we've got Pro Demand, we've got Identifix. I mean, we've got OE on. I've got OE and BMW. So I mean, all this could have been looked up. Yeah, it would have taken a little more time because what really needed to happen here was the part number looked up, cross-referenced, the OE part number looked up, cross-referenced to make sure that is there an aftermarket alternative or do we have to go straight to BMW? In this case, we got straight BMW. So I thought I would bring you into our room here. This is kind of a mismatch room. It's got a bunch of special tools in it and some chemicals and stuff. We've got more chemicals upstairs, but and even then we don't have everything that we need in the building at all times. Sometimes we got to get stuff in if it's special. So we just want to give you an idea of what we have here and the importance of knowing exactly what something calls for. So a perfect example is like gear oil. For those of us that have been in the industry a long time, you see 90-weight gear oil, 75-90 gear oil, we got 75-140, and I've heard guys say, oh, if it's 75-90, you can put 75-140 in it, it'll be okay, and that's not okay. If this, and it could be that it calls for 75-90, but when you go on Valvoline's site and you look up, the spec for this 75-90, maybe it doesn't meet the spec for the vehicle you're putting it in. That means that even though it's 75-90, it doesn't meet your spec, don't put it in. So that's why a lot of times, stocking all this stuff is really, it can be overwhelming at times because trying to figure out the stuff that works on a vehicle can be overwhelming. We've got some 0-20 oil up here, different CVT fluids, different transmission fluids, ATF plus 4. I think we've got the new Chrysler fluid. I think this is the newer Chrysler fluid. I'm not sure. I have to look at that part number. But lots of different. I mean, there's tons of different transmission fluids. Power steering fluid. I know most of you are going to know this, but Honda takes a special power steering fluid. If you do like a Chrysler product, like a Jeep that's got the electric power steering, but it's electric over hydraulic or hydraulic over electric, however you want to call that. So it still has a reservoir. That takes a really special fluid, and that cannot be, nothing else can be put in there. You need to put that right fluid in there. So these are all things you need to be looking up. Otherwise, you don't know, and you just stick some fluid, and you think, oh, power steering fluid, and then next thing you know, you're burning up. I mean, lots of stuff. So antifreeze is another one. If we come back here, I mean, again, tons of different antifreezes for the different vehicles that have to meet the different specs. And then sometimes, and I know it's dark back here, I need to get more light back here, but sometimes even here. So we've got Mercedes, coolant, because that's nothing else will meet that spec that we could find. So we just went ahead and got the Mercedes coolant. We've got the Motorcraft coolant, the Mopar coolant. So if we can't find, and maybe there's an aftermarket source for it now, but now we're just we just have this part number in stock, and if we get a good deal on it, a good price on it, and it's in the same realm, then we'll just go ahead and stick with going what we have in stock. Just keep reordering it. But at some point we needed this, couldn't find an aftermarket alternative, so we got the OE, and that's just what we have. So, this is one of the things that you gotta be on top of. So that's the whole point of this video. So just thought I'd bring you in here though and just show you a little bit. I mean, this is literally a small part of it. We have this fluid everywhere, so probably need to do something about getting that organized. It's one of those things where mistakes happen. It's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, it is about $4,000. We had to buy the diff brand new from BMW. you know, and then obviously the subframe comes down. It's going to have to be aligned. There's a lot of work involved in this. I think it's a 12-hour job, and Clayton's doing a great job on it. He's got about, you know, a little less than 4 hours in it now, and he's already got it out. So this should go back together. We'll have it done today for the client. So one thing to take away from this is double check all your fluids and everything you're working on, whether it be differentials, power steering, you know, coolant, oil, transmission fluid, you name it. You need to be looking at the specs. Be sure you're getting the right thing in there. You know, make sure that whatever oil company you're dealing with, that it at least meets the specs that needs to go in there. The other thing to take away from this is, you know, when something like this happens, just own it. You know, I always tell, I tell all of our clients, I preach this to the top of the mountains as loud as I can. You know, and I tell it to other shop owners when we're talking to them. It's like, when we all want everything to go right. You know, we walk into the restaurant, we order food, food comes to the table, we expect it to be right. That's why we're there. You go into a repair shop, you expect your car to come out fixed. That's why people are coming into us. When something goes wrong, that's when you find out what the company is really made of. When you go into the restaurant, you order something wrong, you know, you order something that comes wrong, the waiter or waitress comes over and says, you know, you say, hey, this is wrong. What's their response? Is their response immediately, oh, well, that's what you ordered? That's kind of probably the culture in that business. You know, if you go into a repair shop, you got, you know, what happened here was this went one day and client called back and said, hey, I got a whining noise, you know, ever since you guys did this fluid service. And so we brought it back in, heard the whining noise, definitely could hear it coming from this. There was, you know, we checked the fluid in it, there was metal in it, the diff is no good. So at that point, you know, what are we going to say? Oh, it's nothing we did. You know, we could have immediately jumped to, it's nothing we did, all we did was do some fluid services, wouldn't cause that. You know, I mean, there's, unfortunately, that does happen in this industry. For us, it's like, let's just get it in, let's find out if something we did. Clearly it is, we owned it, we called the client up, we said, hey, this bad diff, our fault, wrong fluid, we're going to get a new diff for you and we're going to get it taken care of. And he was ecstatic. And I know that sounds funny, but, and it's pretty sad that the general public is ecstatic that a shop just owned up to a problem, that we're going to have his car for a couple of days, and he's happy that we're actually telling him the truth, right? So, I mean, that tells you a lot about just, I guess, the world in general. But, you know, we just need to own this stuff. I promise you that this man will be a client for life, because he knows when he comes here, when we tell him something, he knows it's going to be 100% accurate. So this is a time to shine. So it's costing us a bunch of money. It's costing us some time. You know, I tell shop owners, whenever you have something like this, the pain of the actual money leaving the building is obviously, you know, pretty intense. But there's also the pain that you don't realize in a lot of cases. A lot of shop owners don't understand. This bay is being filled with this job. It could have another job here that's making you money. So it's not just the loss of the actual money that, you know, on what the comeback's costing you. It's the loss of revenue from another job that could be here. So, but it is what it is. You got to own it. You got to do it. Take care of it. Get it back to the client. You know, make them happy, and you know, go to your guys and say, hey, what happened? Let's figure this out. Let's try to make this not happen again. So we all learn from it, right? And there's no sense getting all upset and everything. You know, mistakes happen, and you know. But as long as they don't happen twice, the same mistake twice, that's okay. It's a learning experience. So anyway, we just thought you guys might like to see this. I mean, it's definitely not something I enjoy doing, but it's definitely something that we could all learn from. Hopefully you guys can take this and feel my pain right now and the shop's pain of this, and go, you know, let's put something into place in your shop, that, you know, some policy or procedure in your shop so that you don't have this problem. So hope you liked it. If you did, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Let me tell you, you know, tell us what you do in your shop to make sure this doesn't happen. You know, do you only use OEM fluid and you just go straight to the dealer and buy the fluid? If you do that, you know, kind of let us know. How do you build that out? You know, are you selling it for just what the dealership sells it for? How are you making money on it? I love to hear all the comments on this stuff. Do you have some other brand that you like? But, you know, let us know how you do it. So we appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.